how does the government develop policies and technology infrastructure to support those dilemmas or challenges in terms of equalities, access to education, healthcare, and other areas in the society.
So let's start with the question number one. First is, how do you keep yourself updated on latest development and trends in science and technology and society? And what are the sources or resources that you recommend or and rely on?
Thank you for that question. Number one, there are other ways where I rely on to keep myself updated. One, I have my own network of peers who are respected in each of their industry, whether it's technology sector, legal, business. So I'm part of different organization as well. The American Technology Council. Within that American Technology Council, there's different specific interest group. We call it ESIG, or community of practice, meaning if you practice in the business field, legal, technology. So each of those SIG, I call it, or COPs, community of practice, they have their own webinars. They have personal, in-person uh, symposium, workshops to discuss various topics, trending topics, like new technologies, how intersect with different sectors. So we use that as a forum that we will also update it with our professional development. We call it here, I don't know, in the Philippines, right? So if you are in the legal field, they call it legal continuing education, or PDU. It's called Professional Development Unit. So different sectors have their own way of keeping your license or your certification up to date, and you have to report that. Another way, in more informal way, is reading various magazine articles, news, right? Um, mm, to keep me, informed of the latest technology or legal issues that might arise.
With the second question, what are the current technologies or dilemmas that you face in your work? And how do you cope with them using science, technology, and society perspectives or methods?
All right. So there are different challenges, of course, as I mentioned, because technology can impact or disrupt processes, policies, or archaic processes or policies needs to adopt in the new technology. Like one of the new challenges that technologies disrupt processes is like how can replace human um, function in the workplace, right? I'm sure in the Philippines they have some labor union. I'll give you an example, right? So when there's a technology infusion or a new technology being developed, whether it's a system from the government perspective or a private sector, it has to consider what are the legal implication to the human employees uh, workforce development strategy. So that is one challenges, that is the legal aspect, the HR, how the work. For example, during COVID, right? A lot of the policies are archaic, that they didn't allow or they were not prepared to do telework. My field, we're almost a visionary. We did that telework almost 10, 15 years ago here in the US, where in the patent trademark office, judges can do their hearing virtually. They can go to Hawaii, hear the case. But the infrastructure from a technology at that time is already in place. But during the COVID, it's much validated that a lot of the companies around the world were not prepared, right? So that is example that challenges is the legal and the infrastructure in place. So right now, another dilemma that I would consider is how can you reach out to the different generation, like your generation, I call it mostly the Gen Z, right? So how the older generation or the new workforce be attracted to stay longer in the workplace, because that is one of the most challenges. How does the government develop policies and technology infrastructure to support those dilemmas or challenges in terms of equalities, access to education, healthcare, and other areas in the society? So
So, what are the opportunities that you envision for your work, generally in science and technology in society? And what are the skills or competency that you think are essential for a Filipino in science, technology, and society scholars in the 21st century?
all right. Here in the US, if you're working for the government or you are providing services to the government, they try to ban TikTok. So you cannot get a job if you have a TikTok, right? Unfortunately, other countries doesn't understand the technological risk and political risk when you have TikTok data that can compromise, right? But I would use mostly in a skill set where I understand that the concern in security, cybersecurity, right? So that's why I would use that. I'm giving example of TikTok because you guys can relate to it. But really, I'm trying to give a framework of security, understanding what is computer cybersecurity in general, right? It's a skill set that requires everyone in a globalized economy and a workforce like you guys, that security impacts not just you as an individual employee, right? So it's a skill set that requires you to understand what is the value, why a company requires to protect their assets, right? So therefore, if an employee is rogue or do something doesn't, understand that the security can harm, the security compromise, it can harm their business. So therefore, the skill set is you need to understand, number one, that there is a reason behind it. Why is it important to have an understanding of cyber risk? That's one. Another skill set is like probably I would say basic communication, right? A lot of the generation that it's called generational gap, I call it. But in the workforce, communication is key, whether it's in the form of verbal or form of written. I'm learning how to adjust with the new workforce. They're very informal. Sometimes we in a different generation, we are used to different processes because we are constrained with our policies and legal constraint. For example, meeting minutes, right? Or when they do meeting minutes, we have a specific templates, blah blah blah. But the young generation, you guys have different way of communicating to us. So basically, they're using different technology to do progress report, right? So in terms of competencies, like us, we are learning, but at the same time, you guys have to adjust in learning more technology skill set, to update your skill set as well in terms of technology, whether you're in the infrastructure side, whether you're in the engineering side or the development side, right? Because sometimes different role in a project team, right? Whether you've been the UI, you're doing the design, the development, or you're on the infrastructure side, or you're more on the data, trying to understand where the data flow of a particular business process. So you guys have to update your skill set in that technology area, because technology is so fast, it's changing as far as and then I give you an example. Blockchain disrupt almost 3 years ago, and now AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, really disrupt again. So it's just you need to make sure your skill set are I think university needs to be preparing students in a more useful, practical skill sets that will kind of match what the globalized economy is looking for. So
How can science and technology contribute to the development of your well-being and your work environment?
all right, so you are only asking from my perspective, right? Right? How does
Yes.
the science and okay, so it's really cool. This is a new we're learning from your generation now how we process technology to impact in our human wellness. I call it wellness, right? We learn how to become more empathetic to understand the issue of mental health because probably your parents or whoever you be interacting the concept, oh, our generation is so tough, you guys are so weak, you little things, the stress, you guys cannot handle it, right? Now we are actually learning in person, us as a leader in our technology executive position, that we also need to learn how to manage our own stress, or I call it the mental health awareness. A lot of uh, older generation probably didn't understand that concept in a way that the framework of wellness. So how the technology supports, right? They use a technology to do, call it apps where they do calmness called mindfulness. So they develop technology or apps to help them how to address stress, monitoring, that kind of impact when they are facing in their work environment. In particular, me, I would need to be more careful. Having some health issues in the past, I need to be more proactive in terms of addressing what the unnecessary stress they call it. But at the same time, how do you use tools or resources, like explain again the mindfulness? I just give an example like Apple, let me see example, where's my so my Apple Watch, like my Apple Watch gave me, this is a technology, right? So let's say I pass out um and it will call 911. So I don't know if that service is available in the Philippines. Okay. So, but technology can help me maintain that type of access, right? That will help save lives of me individually. It can also monitor my heart rate, breathing stuff, right? So that will help me in shape in an overall health being of an executive or me, right? Technology. So you as a young generation will continue to develop technology or apps that will address help us in general society. But for me as a consumer, which is an executive, trying to keep that in my overall health monitoring and maintenance basically. So
The problem is, ito ay maganda kasi puwedeng mabawasan 'no, yung kanilang activities na puwedeng gawin ng mga bata at the same time. But when it comes to challenges, ang mahihirapan lang kami is when it comes to interconnecting it to other subjects like MAPE, ano pa ba, TLE. So medyo may limit 'no, may limit yung aming pagti-team up with other experts 'no. Ito ay experts lang from other field, math teachers, science teachers, English teachers, yun lang ang nagiging problema namin.
Let's start our interview po by asking you, sir, the first question. Ready na po ba kayo, sir?
Yes, sige.
How do you see the connection between your field and societal development in the Philippines today?
Of course, when it comes to the connection between my field, no, as a teacher and our societal development in the Philippines, of course, as a teacher, we all know that we pass knowledge, no, we foster critical thinking, no, and at the same time, we inspire learners, no, and we serve also as a passage of virtues, paragon of virtues, and a good role model. This is some of the aspect na somehow connected for my field and societal development because we used to develop students holistically, not only based on knowledge, but for the whole human being of a student.
Thank you for your answer po, sir. And for our next question po, in your field, sir, how do you apply science, technology, and society concept to your work?
So in terms of my field, syempre as a physics teacher, science teacher, it is clearly stated that I applied all the knowledge in terms of science and technology. As grade 10 teacher, I was able to teach grade 7 biology, earth science, physics, and chemistry. So in terms of societal concepts, I was able to apply all my knowledge during my teaching career. And as I connect this to society, right now I'm teaching consumer chemistry, special subject for STE grade 9. So I was able to teach science and connecting it to products na ginagamit natin in everyday life. Example, even though the components of beauty products, the chemistry of laundry, ang paglalaba, ginagamitan din ng science. Ayun, halos lahat naman. So na-apply ko naman siya.
Okay po. Tuloy na po tayo sa next question. When dealing with the ethical, social, and political aspect of your work, especially considering the potential impacts on various communities, how do you approach these challenges?
Maraming mga challenges since as teacher, we are bound to follow rules and regulation. As we all know, no, we follow code of ethics of professional teachers as much as possible. All our acts should be in accordance to our code of ethics. Especially noong nagkaroon tayo ng election, we are not, in terms of political aspect, hindi kami allowed mag-post ng mga candidates usually na pwedeng makaapekto. We can promote pero at the same time, not on the social media. Then, in terms of other aspects naman, we need to follow rules, lalo na syempre in terms of behavioral as teacher, kailangan nakaset yun sa ating code of ethics, no, of professional teacher. Di kami dapat gagawa ng any activities or any behavior na pwedeng makasira doon sa aming sinumpaang tungkulin.
Ayan po, thank you po for your answers, sir. Next question naman na po tayo. When teaming up with experts from diverse fields, what advantages and challenges do you face in the intersection of science, technology, and society?
Since nasa school lang naman kami, no, particularly nagkakaroon kami ngayon ng interdisciplinary connection between other subject through integrative teaching at integrative learning, wherein sa science classes, kailangan naming ma-correlate, no, ma-relate yung aming subject with other subjects. It can be related to English, math, or any other subjects. The problem is, ito ay maganda kasi pwedeng mabawasan, no, yung kanilang activities na pwedeng gawin ng mga bata at the same time. But when it comes to challenges, ang mahihirapan lang kami is when it comes to interconnecting it to other subjects like MAPE, ano pa ba, TLE. So medyo may limit, no, may limit yung aming pagti-team up with other experts. No? Ito ay experts lang from other field, math teachers, science teachers, English teachers. Yun lang ang nagiging problema namin. Ito ay ginawa naman ng DepEd Integrative. No? Kailangan ma-correlate yung science in other fields or what we call across other curriculums. Ayan. So may interconnection dapat, yun lang.
Thank you po for your answer po, sir. Yan, next na po tayo ulit. How do you stay updated on the latest developments in science and technology in society? And what sources do you recommend po?
In terms of latest development, in terms of science and technology, we usually attend seminars. These seminars must be DepEd accredited. But during the pandemic, halos lahat ng seminars inattendan naman namin as long as that is somehow related to science. Right now, we are limit kasi masasayang lang din ang effort. We usually attend two DepEd accredited seminars and workshops. So usually naman every now and then nagbibigay sila ng workshop. And in terms naman sa ating mga sources, sa DepEd naman meron tayong DepEd portal wherein yung mga activities, modules na somehow validated by the experts are posted on the DepEd portal. So, pwede kang mag-harvest ng mga materials na pwedeng gamitin in your classes.
Thank you po ulit, sir. Next question po tayo ulit. What pressing issues do you observe in the Philippines, and how do you believe science, technology, and society concepts can effectively address these concerns?
In terms of issues observed nowadays, so narinig niyo ba, nabalitaan niyo when it comes to exam natin, no? May particular exam tayo na tinake wherein ni-rank ang Philippines and other countries. It so happened that Philippines rank, I guess, from the bottom 5 when it comes to science and technology and math. So yun ang medyo nagiging malaking issue right now, yung kanilang literacy and numeracy. No, right now, students have difficulty in reading comprehension. Some grade 10 do not how to read properly compared sa time ninyo. No, ngayon medyo nagde-decline. When it comes to basic mathematics, hirap na din mostly. Division, multiplication, medyo mahirap na. So I think that will be the very problem pwedeng ma-encounter right now. Nagde-deteriorate yung tiyaga ng batang mag-aral. So ngayon, saan papasok ang science dyan? Actually, this should be teamed up with mathematics teachers and English teachers kasi this is very important, no? Gusto ko sanang maibalik yung ating 3 R's, no? Reading, writing, and arithmetic, wherein during the elementary days, ayun ang focus nila. Ayun ang focus nila, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Sa science naman, kasi science will be very easy kung marunong magbasa ang bata, maiintindihan ng bata yung binabasa. And at the same time, since physics teacher ako, expected na merong number. So pag hindi okay ang English and math, technically hindi rin magiging okay ang science. So I think yung tatlong yun dapat mabigyang diin during the elementary days hanggang high school para maging strong yung foundation.
And po, thank you po, sir, for your answer po. And yun po, para matapos na po. Ito po yung last question for our interview. How do you think science and technology can contribute to your well-being and work environment?
Well-being. Actually, since alam naman natin that science is everywhere, and as a science teacher, I was able to develop myself being product goal-oriented, and at the same time, I also develop yung being critical thinking. Ayan. And developing minds that somehow can enable to use science critical thinking skills and other methods, no, na pwedeng gamitin sa buhay. So marami pa namang naitulong, no, very essential, no, lalo na pag ikaw ay isang science teacher, especially sa mga gamot, di ba? You were able to identify mga pros and cons right away sa mga products. Madali mong ma-identify yung ating mga hazardous products kasi not all labels included in the products are helpful sa mga pagkain. Ayan. So, nagagamit ko siya in everyday life. Mula sa pamamalengke, pagbili ng mga gamit, etc. So, sa lahat, pang-araw-araw na buhay.
Maraming salamat po, sir, sa sagot nyo. And doon na po natatapos yung ating interview. Maraming salamat po, sir, sa oras po ninyo. And salamat po dahil pinanulakan nyo po kami, sir, despite your busy schedule. Sobrang laking tulong po nito sa amin, sir. Super thank you po.
The interview provided valuable insights into the intersection of science, technology, and society on an international scale, emphasizing the importance of holistic focus on all phases of society for meaningful progress in this dynamic field. It highlighted the interconnectedness of these elements, urging a comprehensive approach to address challenges and opportunities in ever-evolving landscape of science and technology.
In this world and what we are right now, there's a really big gap in everything, especially in every country. My takeaways are: first, the large difference of living here in the Philippines and US. Hearing all those things that Sir Ed's examples, there are so many things that we are lacking from. It looks like we are late from upgrading compared to them, especially in terms of health field, but we cannot do anything as of the moment because of the budgets. And because of science and technology, to the society, everything is becoming easier in life.
It is incredible how science transforms technology and society, making everyone's lives easier. Despite the evident progress in technology, an issue arises with people becoming overly dependent, leading to a decline in knowledge. It is crucial to establish a balance between technology and human reliance to ensure a healthy equilibrium.
Hi, we are all know that Philippines is late in terms of technology in the other country, and my insight about Mr. Sir Ed Logan say that US and the Philippines have a big gap in terms of education system, healthcare system, and they are using a 3D technology to print a medical. Here in the Philippines, we are, yes, we know that we have a 3D printing, but we are not always use that because we are all know that our other fellow Filipinos don't have money for that kind of technology. And also in the US, he say that have a technology council that conducting research about technology. So I think all know that other country have a big gap in the other country, and I am very glad that I have a interview with Sir Ed, and knowing that he's insight about our question regarding on what the STS today in the US and in the Philippines. I'm glad that I heard a lot of things in Mr. Sir Ed Logan. Thanks po.
The first takeaway of mine in the interview of Sir Edward is that the dilemma he's facing through the generation gap, because there's different sets of thinking, sets of techniques that is used on such generation. Even though Sir Edward is an expert in his field of expertise, he is still adjusting on the society which called the new generation. But the technology helped him to cope up with the generation gap he's facing. Basically, the technology is a convenient tool for people ranging to all generations.
Based on the insights gained from the interviews with two experts or professionals today, I concluded that collaborating with experts from various fields goes beyond just fostering innovation. It's a delicate balancing act that necessitates clear and effective communication. In the specific context of the Philippines, responsible technology deployment is not up for negotiation. Here, STS concept serves as the ethical compass, steering progress in the right direction. The intricate link between our work, as highlighted by the experience of the two experts, and societal development relies on a commitment to staying informed, addressing challenges directly, anticipating opportunities, and nurturing collaborative growth. It's a journey where each step carries the potential to shape a responsible and impactful intersection of technology and society.